Hi, David here from Cruising Calypso. We're here at Cape Yachts and we're going to get on board the Swift 41 trawler. And we're joined by Scott, who is one of the yacht brokers here at Cape Yachts, and he's going to walk us through this really innovative and beautiful boat. So Scott, why don't you show us this boat?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's start out here on the swim platform. You have a beautiful, nice wide swim platform here on the 41. Gives you plenty of space getting on and off this boat, obviously.
And just pause you there, a little bit of history. In the Swift lineup, originally Swift came out with a 34. That was replaced by the 35, which you have now, you have in stock. And the next one up is this 41?
This is the next one up in size. This 41 replaces the 44.
44, okay.
So,
and then above the 41, there is...
yeah, so the Swift 50 would be the next one.
Next one up, okay. Yeah. Okay, so the Swift lineup is really marketed. These are semi-displacement cruisers. They're larger than the other boats in the Beneteau lineup, so they have a lot of space. They're designed to, they're to cruise in the mid-teens, but they certainly are comfortable cruising at single digits for long distance efficiency and economy. So this is kind of the all-purpose boat for the purpose people who want to do the distance. These boats are great loop boats. They are good for the New England loop, but they also have enough speed to get you around the Buzzards Bay and New England coast area at 18 knots. So
they'll do better than that sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
So one of the nice features about this is you also have this sliding seat. So when you need the extra room, you can slide this back. Just lock it in place in its second spot. And now that gives you additional room here.
And that is actually a feature that you will see on a number of Beneteau boats.
Yes.
Beneteau has done this, and I think Jeannot, who is also a Beneteau, makes use of this sliding seat because it allows you, as Scott just said, more access to the cockpit and access to the engine space, but then also it makes for a large swim platform where you can use it for activities, but also, like many of us, we carry a dinghy on the swim platform, and many boats don't have a large enough swim platform for that, so this gives you the best of both worlds.
Yeah, so you have to slide it back and forth depending on how you want to use the boat and how you want to use that swim platform. That can be moved either way.
And how is this boat powered?
This one should have twin diesels on this.
Okay,
300s.
And 300, so they are Volvo Penta D4s?
Yep.
Excellent, and straight shafts, they're not pods.
Correct.
Great, okay, straight shaft, Volvo Penta D4s, which are large four-cylinder diesel engines. Those engines have a great reputation. It's a lot of power in a relatively compact package, so it's a good engine.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing too, and again, when we talk about getting space in here, this ladder will slide up.
So you can push it close to the bulkhead.
On your way when you're not using it.
This really is quite a space. You could, in addition to these seats, you could put several director's chairs here, and really, entertain a group of 4 or 6 people, actually 8 people, 6 to 8.
So yeah, and of course, the nice thing, you always have plenty of handrails and places to hold on to on this boat.
So that is really a testament to they know this boat is a distance boat. I mean, it's boats that don't have handhold. They know they're not really going far. This is a boat that they intend to be out in the rough stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We go inside.
Here, we can just kill it.
One of the nice things they did on this boat, they made a little bit different. They put the galley all the way to the
galley aft. Okay.
So you get.
I see that has become a popular layout. I mean, now my understanding is people like to be able to go from the cockpit into the galley without having to go through the boat. Exactly. And you're seeing that more and more as a design feature on these boats.
Yeah, so rather than, tracking wet people who are coming off of you on a sandbar or whatever,
right.
People tracking their wet bathing, walking through their wet bathing suits, wet feet and everything else. You're right here where people are sitting, people are enjoying themselves here, or if they're even here, no matter where people are, you're kind of centered here with the galley. So yeah, you can.
That is a really nice, and of course, not just for access to the galley itself, but it's good, you'll be able to talk if you're preparing lunch or preparing dinner. Not only can you communicate with folks in the cockpit, but also you can see here where the settee is, and so it's really centralized for communication.
And on this boat here, one of the nice things is,
oh my gosh, look at this.
Open this all the way up.
So again, the innovative continues with Beneteau with the sliding door. And I point that out because while we love having our sliding door on our Sea Ray 400, it doesn't do that.
Yeah.
It basically it opens one panel, and so you have one panel open. And this is really what you can do with a sliding door.
And so now you have your galleys right here. Your guests are here, or you have guests here. Either way, you're right there in the middle of the activity.
And it looks like this galley is really well equipped with a 3-burner, looks like a gas range.
Yeah, it's gas.
And a gas stove, which is nice. And then down here we have dry storage, quite a bit of dry storage. As you can see, it's outfitted with pegs to accommodate different size plates and bowls to keep them in place. You have a double sink right here. And what is a good size refrigerator, and separate freezer. So, many boats, when they start, one of the things is you start to get a little bit bigger in boats. One of the things you get, and is those of you familiar with Calypso II, you start to get above the apartment size refrigerator into a refrigerator. And where that matters is if you want to go for a week, if you want to go for longer, you can actually provision the boat to go longer. So that's a nice feature, and it's hidden behind these nice panels, and it's held closed with a catch. So, and of course we have the necessary nice fusion stereo. And looks like an ice maker?
An additional ice maker
Ice
there
maker?
as well.
Now, is that an option? Can you have a refrigerator there? Okay, so either ice maker, which is what we have, an ice maker in our cockpit. We have that unit in our cockpit.
Okay, and as we move forward, you'll find, great seating here. One of the nice things about the 41, again, handholds everywhere, but one of the nice things is the view you get from this boat here.
Look at this view. As I pan around here, one of the things that you need to consider as you're thinking about a boat is in terms of styling. While some might say this more upright styling is not maybe as sleek as an express boat like Calypso 1 was, or like the Beneteau GT is, which we'll take a look at, but what you get is this amazing panoramic view and a very light, as opposed to what an express boat has, which is a very good boat, but an express boat you do go down to the cabin, and so it's not quite as bright. And if you're spending any time on board the boat, the benefit of having this kind of window space and this kind of daylight on your boat becomes readily apparent. So I just want to point that out, that while you'd say, oh, that's sort of a blocky boat, in fact, it's actually a wonderful space to spend a lot of time in.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to be out there on a long distance cruise.
Especially because, weather can change. And if it's raining, I have spent rainy days in the cockpit and the cabin of our Sea Ray 310, and we loved Calypso 1. It was a Sea Ray 310, but you're basically down in the cabin with portholes, or you're in the cockpit surrounded by canvas. And this is...
So even looking at rain on this, you don't mind it.
Yeah, this is nice. Now, something I want to point out that's a real nice feature. You can see here, there's a door to starboard. And so if you're operating the boat single-handed, if you're at the wheel, and Scott opens it, you can step out, and right adjacent to that is a door in the bulwark right there. So not only can you single-hand this boat, but you step out through here and reach out and step off the dock with a line, and you could attach a midship line and just step right off. And look at the cleat right there. So this boat actually, for 41 feet, you could step right off, cleat off the midship cleat, and then get the rest of it done. Yep. I have to say that is a very well thought out feature. That bulwark door is nice. Mm-hmm. And I want to point out that it has teak decks. Now I'm guessing that is an option, or is it standard? Yes. Okay, so this boat is equipped with teak decks going back to the cockpit. The bow is the standard fiberglass, but that is an option for those who want the additional non-slip surface of a teak deck and the natural beauty of it. However, fiberglass, which is maintenance free, is also available as a standard feature. So it looks like at the helm we're equipped with a single Raymarine hybrid. It's an Axiom. Is that Axiom?
Yes.
Yes, an Axiom display, MFD, so that's your GPS, your radar, your depth, but it also has, you can see your Volvo Penta controls, your split Volvo Penta shift, and this boat has bow and stern thruster. Stern thruster, but it's also, this is a twin engine boat, so remember, the real advantage of a twin engine is maneuverability, but you add the thrusters, and now you're talking about not only being able to turn, but you can now move the boat sideways. With 2 thrusters, you can thrust sideways against the dock. And of course, here you have all of your switches, and then here's an additional Raymarine repeater, and that's probably the autopilot, actually?
Yes.
That's the Raymarine autopilot right there. A large destroyer wheel, and then a VHF right here. And it looks like, of course, this seat is a nice captain seat, and it does have a fold-up bolster for those of you who stand underway or you want to sit. And it looks to be a double seat, so that is nice to have that for the captain and your admiral alongside. So now, moving over, does this settee forms another bed?
Yeah, and as you'll notice too, up above here on this
look at
track,
that!
you can close this off.
As you see here, there's a curtain right there. You can see where I'm pointing. That curtain comes out on this track and around, and if you lower this down, you now have what I would say is a double.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that's a double. That is a creative, I mean, this is a 41-foot boat, so I'm guessing it already has 2 staterooms.
It does.
But now you've created a 3rd private space on a boat but then it disappears, and you don't have to, you're not taking up the space. Again, Beneteau innovation.
Yep.
So let's take a look at below.
Down below, you'll find 3 staterooms actually down below.
3. All right, so this is the first of 3 staterooms. It is a single bed here with a little small settee. Oh my goodness. There is a combo washer dryer.
Yes.
Here, back there, and there's storage. Look at this.
And you can get this one set up as either a stateroom or just as a storage or workroom.
Okay. But clearly there is, I mean, I'm 5'9", and there is probably easily 7 feet of standing room in the front of this cabin. So you for changing, and then you can sleep. So that's a nice space. So moving on to the second stateroom.
And in here you can get inserts that will turn this into a full bunk.
Into a double. So, you know, again, what you're looking at is easily 7 feet of headroom here. So there's plenty of changing space. You have hull side ports, one including an opening section in there, and then also another window here. So it makes this very light. You know, one of the things viewers of my channel will recognize is on Calypso II, we have a 2 stateroom boat, and the side stateroom just has 1 port up here and no hull side. So it's a darkish space.
Yeah, one of the things you'll find
it's a darkish space.
Beneteau in general, you'll find that windows are plentiful.
Which is nice. I mean, and that has definitely been a trend in the last 5 to 10 years of these hull side ports. Point out here, there's a nice locker. It looks like it's lit.
Yep.
And then there are hooks for additional storage. So this is a 3 stateroom boat.
Yep. There's your day head.
It's a little dark in here. Let's see. Is there a light? Yeah. So, okay, so we have a vessel style sink. We have an electric head. And we can, as you can see, this is a wet head, but what's nice about it, it does have the shower track built in, so you can pull the shower around and you don't have to get the whole head wet. You can contain the water to within the shower stall and use it there. So now we're moving into the master. We're in the master cabin.
Again, you have a walk-around master, which is
and
nice.
A large double approaching queen.
Yep.
You know, with reading lights.
With reading lights, you get storage down below. You have storage on both sides.
Look at that. Again, lit storage.
Yep.
And I'm guessing this is a TV space.
Space up there.
And then there are side spaces right along here for your watch and wallet at night. And you can put photographs, as you can see. The bed lifts up for additional storage. Good Lord.
Yeah, so
as you can see, there is all the material that goes with this boat.
Yep.
And I'm guessing there is a master head.
In this boat here, what they do is a separate head and separate shower. So your head is on this side, your shower is going to be on the starboard.
So take a look at that. So what we have here is this is a separate head compartment. You have the electric head, you have another vessel sink, with its own opening port and opening skylight. But if you, by splitting the space into separate head and shower, somebody can be showering while someone else is shaving or using the head, and you've now made basically, it's not 3 heads, but it does make space where people can be in.
It makes a little bit more efficient use of that.
And this is, I gotta say, Scott, this is a large shower.
It is very large, yeah.
And not only is it large, it's bright. Again, it has a opening port, but as you can see, it's frosted for privacy, and it has an overhead hatch with a shower on a sliding adjustable mount. And again, is the teak here in the shower standard, or is that an option?
That's an option.
So this is part of the teak option package that comes with the boat if you get the rest of the teak, but that is a nice thing to have. Wow, this is a lot of boat in 41 feet.
It is a lot.
I mean, for those, this is similar, and the overall length is 41, or is it actually bigger?
It's a little over 41.
Wow. This is a lot of boat. Can we take a look at the bridge?
Absolutely.
So we're now going up the ladder to the bridge. Wow. All right.
Here we got in addition, we have your summer kitchen
with grill and sink. And it looks like a refrigerator and trash. You gotta love the trash. People forget how important it is to have trash. Because you try to find a place for a trash can, it's out in the way. Everyone has trash.
Everybody has it.
Everyone has trash and no one knows what to do with it. That is a nice, and it looks like there's a reflective spray shield there. And it looks like we have room for chairs.
Yes. So you can put chairs out here, table, whatever you want to put out here on the deck.
So this space, however, is not set up to carry a dinghy back here. It's because of the railings. It's not.
In theory, I guess you could probably put a crane type of setup over here.
But typically, if you were carrying a dinghy, you'd probably, because of the size of that swim platform, the place to carry a dinghy would be on that swim platform, and you could easily get a good size rib on there.
Swim platform would be the preferred place to put a dinghy on.
And so you can see there's a mount, there's a radar. Again, another little tip to Beneteau, there's a wind speed indicator, which is not something you find on a lot of power boats. That is, every sailboat is equipped like that, but not every power boat. That is, I love that.
If you move forward, you have the second helm station.
With what looks like pretty much redundant controls.
Redundant controls on this station that redundant to what you see down below.
Looks like you have 2 Ray Marine displays. They look like they're 7-inch instead of below.
Instead of the 12.
Instead of the 12, but still you have 2, so plenty of information.
Yep.
You have the engine gauges there.
Yep.
Of course, the bow and stern thruster controls, the autopilot, and then, and you have a remote independent controller for the MFD. I'll point that out right here. That's actually a nice feature right here, is that allows you to control the MFD both with buttons, and I'm sure these are touch screens as well. Yes. So that is a nice feature. I will say that while both Calypso 1 and 2 have had all touchscreen MFDs, and they're nice because it allows that you get the full-size screen without having controls. When you're underway in any kind of a chop, you find yourself having to brace your fingers to adjust the screen, and having actual buttons can be an advantage. So that's probably, again, the best of both worlds. It doesn't take up space on the display, yet it allows you to have that control. Because I'm sure, Scott, you've experienced that. Trying to adjust a pinch to zoom is one thing on an iPad at your breakfast table. It's another thing entirely when it's like zoom.
There's plenty of seating up here on the fly bridge as well.
And again, you could easily sit 6 to 8 people here.
Yeah, very easily. And this table will open up as well.
And I'm sure it's braced underneath.
It's braced with the brace.
Okay. So Scott, tell me, Beneteau has been somewhat innovative in this space. Who would be a competitor for this line of boats? Because I'm actually drawing a blank myself, because these days this style of boat, this used to be more common 20 years ago. There's this we call it a cruiser, when the Tolly crafts were around and when Chris Craft was around. But today, you know, if you're looking for a you know, let's say 30 to 40 foot boat where the Swift line is, and they're also larger than 40, you're looking for a boat that will really take you the distance, either for weekends or weeks, or as I said, at its slow speed, this will go the distance. I would imagine at 8 or 9 knots, this probably has a 700 or 800 mile range running at 7 knots.
Actually, this boat, what's different about this boat is it doesn't really have a direct competitor, because the Swift trawlers will actually run at about 18 to 20 knots.
Okay.
So they're not the slow trawlers that you think in the past.
Right.
These boats that will move along.
So that's nice. So, and with that semi-displacement hull, you know, but it will allow it to be economical. In other words, you can, you know, because as you know, many express boats don't like running at 7 knots. They sort of wallow, you know, and a semi-displacement hull does give you the option of doing that. So there really isn't a competitor? I mean...
Well, there are competitors, but not. I wouldn't say there's a really good direct competitor, because there's really nobody else in the marketplace that's making a trawler that runs at 20 to 25
That's right.
knots. So when we go out there and we're competing against people, we're probably competing more things like a cruiser yacht or something like that.
That's true. That's true.
So we're competing against bigger express style boats.
Oh, it's okay. But this gives you, you know, because of the styling, you're talking about a lot of headroom. You're talking about a lot of openness, which, you know, if you're spending time on a boat, you know, I got to tell you, it's like a car. You buy a boat or buy a car, and you only see the outside when you're getting in. Then you're inside, and you have to live with the inside. And that express boat, which again are fun, great, and Calypso 1 was one. But if what you're doing is cruising any kind of distance, it's the inside, and this boat offers it in spades. There's lots of space. Now, where does this fit in terms of a price point?
It's in terms of when you're comparing it to what?
No, what would be a general retail price for this boat?
You're probably talking, it's the 41, probably somewhere around the 6s, 7s.
Okay, so mid 6s, low 7s. So that, you know, for a twin diesel 41 3 stateroom boat, 2 head, plus that, we'll call it convertible space in the salon, which while many boats do have that drop down settee for space, this adds the additional curtain. So that's a unique feature. So you're talking about a lot of boat. I mean, even if as equipped, you're talking 700. Again, in its class for, I mean, since there aren't direct competitors, but if you're saying, what can I get in the 40-foot space, and I want to take my family, I'm a family with 3 kids, this boat will do it. And it will get you there, you know. And for those of you who have been around a long year, remember the Grand Banks and the Marine Traders from the 70s. And Grand Banks, by the way, makes a beautiful boat today. But those boats really were a 7-knot boat. It was, you know, they went all day long at 7 knots. This boat at 18 to 20 knots, which is where, quite frankly, the Sea Ray 400 cruises, and we can get where we need to go. That'll really get it done. So Scott, thank you very much, and we will wrap up this video on board the Beneteau Swift 41, and stay tuned for more.